To kind of wrap up the notes that we were going through in section 4.4, I'm going to work some things and talk about a few things on this recording that will help us as a class get back on track. Thinking about the last thing that we talked about in class on Wednesday, we looked at the 4 quadrants and thought about in what quadrant is each of the trig functions positive and negative. And all that goes back to thinking about the trig functions in terms of, are they connected to x coordinates of points, are they connected to the y coordinates of points, or are they connected to both the x coordinates and the y coordinates. And we realize that our all of our functions are positive in the first quadrant. Sine and its reciprocal are the only functions positive in the second quadrant. Tangents and its reciprocal are the only functions positive in the third quadrant. And cosine and its reciprocal are the only functions positive in the fourth quadrant. If we have that information, then we can figure out, with just a little bit of information, we can figure out what quadrant the angle has to lie in. For instance, if we have a sine value of an angle that's a negative and a cosine value of an angle that's a negative, think sine is y values, cosine is x values, so theta is in the third quadrant, because that's the only quadrant where sine and cosine both are negative. Now, that comes in handy if we've got a problem like this. Suppose we know that the tangent of some angle theta is negative 1/3. So our tangent value is negative. And the cosine of that angle, same angle theta, is negative. That's all the information we have, and we need to find the sine of angle theta and the secant of angle theta. Okay, now first I'm going to think about where that angle has to be. Tangent's negative, so it's not the first quadrant and it's not the third quadrant. If cosine is positive, cosine's positive in the first and fourth quadrant, so I know our angle has to be, read that right, cosine is negative, which is true in the second and third quadrant. Sorry, now I'm on the track. So tangent's negative, cosine's negative. We're talking about our angle theta has to be somewhere in the third quadrant. So that might be angle theta. Now, if tangent is negative 1/3, remember that tangent is defined as y over x. One of those numbers is negative and the other one's positive. Well, based on where we are, then the point we've got to be looking at is negative 3, positive 1. Right? Y has got to be 1, x has got to be 3, x has to be the negative number. So, finding the value of r is going to be negative 3 squared plus 1 squared. So r ends up being a square root of 10. So then the sine of our angle theta is 1 over the square root of 10, which rationalized would be square root of 10 over 10. And secant of angle theta is r over x, which would be 10 over negative 3.